Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at a Pokemon themed annual reading challenge that I found out about, a few hours ago. And decided that I don't know why the algorithm failed me again, because this one definitely is one that should have been on my radar before now, because it fits with a lot of the stuff that my family enjoys and just general stuff that my phone is probably hearing at least 3 times a week uh, have to do with Pokemon. I mean, you can kind of see a little Pokemon over here, and then I've got all of Evolution little mega constructs over on that wall. So, like, that's just in my office. There's a whole bunch more down in my husband's office. Then there's the games and community days that go on the calendar and all kinds of things. So, anyways, needless to say, we enjoy. Um, we'll go ahead and jump right in. It is called PokeManda, and it is by Manda the Biblio. I jumped literally as soon as I listened to it. I went, "Why is this not already done? Why have I not created this in my journal so I can get started on it like immediately? I'm already a month late." Yeah, it's the 27th of January, so I'm a little late, but that's okay because I think I can get caught up, and I'll explain a little bit more about my plan for that and how I plan on fitting this challenge into my already rather overloaded challenge schedule as we get in. But I couldn't let this one go. I couldn't. It needed to be added to the list. So for the first year, because I do try to create these journals so that they can be built upon year over year, the first year is going to be the Kanto region. As you can see, got a couple of maps and things like that. Obviously, I need to probably, now since I literally just learned about this today, I'll probably adjust, make them even prettier, etc. But since I don't want this to be out after I do my TBR, because then you'll be like, you just added a whole page to your TBR. What is going on? I wanted to put this out first, so I wanted to go ahead and get this done quickly so we could chat about it before I did my TBR for February. So, there are a couple things about this challenge. The first one you need to know is that there are 3 levels. The first level is the simplest one, and that is you just choose 6 Pokemon from the Kanto region, and you make your team. And when you finish that, that's one every other month, more or less, then you have completed the challenge. The next one is champion mode. And for champion mode, you're going to complete one from every evolution of the Pokemon. So that's sort of why I put it this way, is so that each page would correspond to getting to pick one from that to be on the champion level. And then the last one is the one that I'm working on, which is you do all of them. So those are 3 ways to choose how much reading you're doing and how much you're actually needing to adjust, if you're me, your reading schedule. And then the other thing is a component that has nothing to do with reading at all. I mean, there are a couple that are like read while doing something else, but it isn't like a whole book. And that is the shiny component. So if you wanted to have a shiny, which you can see the regular and the shiny on the top on the graphics, like I said, super cute. Then you just complete the shiny component that's on the bottom. So I did not do any of January, because I just found out about it today. I went back and looked at what books I'd already done that would fit the various prompts that are here for January. And then if I'd already completed one and had already done the shiny component, I went ahead and did that. If I've done the book, but not the shiny component yet, then I have it translucent to 30%. So you can kind of see that the check marks there, that's mostly for ease of use for me. Then I will be able to very easily say, okay, click, bring it to 100%, done. Easy breezy. I don't know, and this is something I've thought about and I have done in the past. If I want to add a picture of me doing whatever it is for that shiny component, for the non-book component. Let me know what your thoughts are. The way I could potentially do it is to put a page after each of the chains, which is what she's calling each of the evolutions pages is a chain. I could put the next page and then just be like Bulbasaur shiny, and just put like 3 pictures of like each of the things that I did. I don't know that it's necessary personally, because I mean some of them are, I think I'm probably gonna want to like create something floral. Would I potentially take the opportunity to get myself another floral Lego? Maybe. Potentially. I really enjoy them. But anyway, that could be something I could do. I could also create a floral arrangement for a friend, or design something part of a journal that includes, it's like a digital craft in the case, that has florals on it. There's so many things I could do that have to do with florals, but since I haven't read Shadow's End yet, I can't do it anyway, because you can't do the shiny until after you have completed the book. So after you've caught the Pokemon, and then you find out if it's shiny or not by like doing the thing. If you want it to be shiny, then you do the thing. So anyway, that's how that works. Went off on a tangent. We are not surprised. Apologies anyway. My brain. It's just a pinball machine sometimes. So yeah, if I did not have any books, or at least I didn't immediately think of a book that I'd read for the month, I went ahead and tried to pick something that I know I'm going to be reading next month or in the next couple of months, so that I can go back, because that was the other thing that they mentioned, is that um, you're able to go back and grab a book that you did in a previous month if you would like to, or, you know, in the future, if you know, don't have time this month, you could do that prompt the next month and it'd be perfectly fine. So it's got some flexibility, because there's 151. Pretty sure there's 151 different prompts over the course of the entire year. They are only brought out monthly, so I'm only going to be doing January and February prompts in today's presentation journal walkthrough. But there are 10 more months of them in coming in the near future. I mean, it is near future for the next month, several months, I think. Distracted. Okay, so Bulbasaur is read a book with mostly green on the cover, and I chose The Merriest Misters by Timothy Janofsky. I ended up enjoying this one. It wasn't my normal go-to, but it was cute. Ivysaur, read a summer book, and Sizzling 16 happens during the summer, so I'm going to count that as a summer book. I did already get the shiny for Merriest Misters / Bulbasaur, but I have not enjoyed the weather because it is so snowy outside. Like, I don't know, how much is this? Like over 1.5 feet outside. Well, I think my husband said that there were probably just under 1.5 feet in some places in our yard when he was snow blowing. But anyway, there's a lot of snow, and I don't like the snow. I just don't. It makes me feel cold and sad, so I don't like to go outside in the snow if I can help it. Do I? Yes, I still have life to live, but I'm not going to enjoy it. So I may end up having to wait for a nice day and then take a drive, or wait for the spring and then get the shiny component on that one. Because I do want to get the shiny components, because shinies are fun. All right, next would be Venusaur, which is final book in a series. I did not think of any when I was quickly trying to fill in where everything would go, that I finished a series. Plenty of standalones, plenty of first of series, and plenty like mid-series, but I don't think I finished any series in January so far. There's a couple days still, but I don't have anything that I'm currently working through that is going to fit into that category. But I do have Shadow's End, which I discussed when I was creating my January TBR is going to be either February or March of this year because need it to fit another challenge, which is on a quarterly challenge. So I'm going to pop this in here. Whenever I do that one, I will also figure out something floral to create. I could get some Legos. That could be fun. I could maybe color a picture with florals. I have plenty of coloring books that have florals. Um, Plenty of options out there. So, something floral. Next is the Charmander chain. So the Charmander is read a book that brings you life, and I chose A Pirate's Life for Tea, which I mentioned before. I put it 3 originally, but I was leaning towards changing it to 4, and I've decided I am going to change it to a 4, and I'm going to go back and adjust all of my other journals accordingly and all of the stuff on my apps probably later tonight or tomorrow, maybe this weekend at the latest, so that everything is 4 because it was so good. And I talked about this book for several days. And I brought it up again with other friends that I had just hadn't seen in a little while. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to talk about it that much and hype it up that much, it needs to be a 4-star. So made it a 4-star. And that is something, if you're passionate about something, that's what brings you life. And if something makes you super joyful, that is something that brings you life. So I chose A Pirate's Life for Tea by Rebecca Thorne. Rest and recharge. Yep, I read this one and then I spent a long weekend doing minimal other than reading, which I found very restful. So the next up was Charmeleon, which was a young adult book. I chose This Trauma is Sponsored by Anna Lindvasser. It is a YA book of poetry, specifically about a family vlogging channel's oldest daughter. It does include bits with the other family members, but it's from the point of view of the eldest daughter, who is a teenager. So that is where I picked that one. And then I chose to take a deep breath because I had a frustrating day and I needed some breaths at some point this week. So after I finished that book, for sure. So we did go ahead and check that one off as shiny as well. And then for Charizard, it was read a book you expected to be one thing but was something else. And I chose The Vampire Knitting Club by Nancy Warren for this one because for some reason I had it in my brain that this was going to be a romance novel. I think it's because like the uh prequel, I think it's a prequel, that I read. It's like a novella that takes place before the beginning of this one, like 100 years, actually probably more than 100 years before this one. The sort of setup, the backstory of one of the other characters that's in this book. There was a love story there, and I just assumed. I mean, it wasn't like the main part of the story, but like he was in love with someone and was doing things in order to try to save her. So I assumed that it would be, cozy vampire romances, or at least have component of romance. But no, this one, I mean, I didn't think there was much romance components, like anything in this book at all. There may be in the future. It could be just a very slow burn, where we're meeting this character in this book and sort of setting the stage for the setting. And then eventually there's going to be a romance. I don't know. We'll see. I may need to do a little bit more research before I make that assumption, because I was dead wrong when I read this one. But yeah, and then lay in bed and read for a bit. I do that pretty much every night, so that was a easy check off. Next is Squirtle Chain. So I did not complete a buddy read this month because I'd already done a buddy read for um, the book group that I usually do buddy reads with. So since I'd already read both of the books that I wanted to potentially do a buddy read with that were on the list, I decided to sort of skip in January. But in February, they're going to be doing Ceremony and Death, which I have not read yet. It's J.D. Robb number 5 in this series, I believe, and I think I've read 1 through 3, maybe 4, but I haven't read 5 yet. So I may need to read 4 in order to get into 5, but they're not particularly long. I want to say they were like 8 to 10 hours on audio. The last one I did, 3 to 400 pages. They weren't too bad, at least from my memory. I'd have to go back and look at it. So even if I haven't read 4, I'll read 4 and then I'll jump into 5. Because I do actually want to read this series, and I was going to read more of them in the latter half of the year, but then I heard that they were going to be doing like buddy reads of the series for the rest of 2026 or into 2026, and I decided to put it on hold so I could do that with everyone. Anywho's, so do a group activity. That one will be easy. It'll likely be D&D because, well, that is a regular occurrence. Most Sundays we have D&D like with a virtual group, and then once or twice a month in person. So the likelihood is that's what it'll be, but if it's not, it'll be something else. We have a goal to have a friend related thing happen at least once a month where either they come to us or we go to them, and kind of like a friend date. So sometimes that's, hey, come over to a game night, or let's do a cookout in the summer, whatever it is. But we try to have at least one thing every month so that we don't become complete homebodies. Because, yeah, sometimes you can get a little bit in a mood as you were, and you're just like, especially since I work from home, I need to make sure to get out and about or have friends over and things. So anyways, we'll do it at some point. Next up, Wartortle, which for some reason, I don't think I realized how that is spelled until now, and also that the ears looked as funky as they did. Not related to this at all, but yeah. Read a book you've been wanting to read for a while. I ended up choosing Uprooted by Naomi Novik because it's been on my TBR for a while because my husband suggested that I read it. I loved it, by the way, as you can tell. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the wrap up for January, but yeah, very much enjoyed it. And then do something you've had to get done for a while. Deep cleaning my house. Uh, I have been slowly working my way through catch up because I have my schedule for like um, weekly, monthly, and then quarterly items, and then there are a couple annuals as well. And they're on my fridge. Like I'm supposed to be checking them off and checking, and it says like, okay, do like these things on Monday, and then pick something from one of the other days, a non-standard task, and you go look at the monthly. Do you have anything on there? No, then go pick something on the quarterly. Like I have a plan, but it is winter, and we tend to get off track in the winter. So, been working to get caught up there. So that checked that one off. And then Blastoise was read a heavy book, and I chose this one. There were two kind of ways to think about this one that they mentioned when in the video. One would be something that was like emotionally heavy, and the other would be like a thick book. And so this one is over 500 pages, and it does have some heavy topics in it as well. I am enjoying it quite a bit. I'm halfway-ish. Hopefully I'll finish it tomorrow. But yeah, read a heavy book. I chose Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson, and I am enjoying it. Read or drink some water. That'll be easy. Obviously, I can't actually check it off or count it until after I finish the book, but yeah. Next is Caterpie, and this is the first one where I literally left the book off because I'm not sure what I want to do there yet, which is the last one. So we'll get to that one in a second. So my first read of the year, obviously I just had to go look. First read of the year was The Monster's Mate by Gillian West. I don't know what I'm going to do for the favorite scent. I don't know that I have a favorite scent. I have a lot of scents that I enjoy. They're not candles. We've talked about that before. And they're not artificial scents. They're just like, baking cookies, or I really like if I'm making like enchiladas, then like you have that cooking all day. Same thing for when you're making pasta sauce. You've got that cooking all day. And those are all scents that I really like, but I don't know what my favorite scent is. I'm not sure that I have a favorite scent. I have scents that I like and I have scents that I don't like, but I don't know if I have a favorite. So maybe I'll just choose one that I really enjoy and go from there. go that route because I don't want to get not the shiny because I don't have a favorite. Anyway, next up, Metapod. Read a hardcover. Let me know what you think. Do I need to actually go to the library and get a hardcover and read it? Or can I just pick a book that has a hardcover? Because I read this on an audiobook. And I can totally do that. I can choose a hardcover book from the library and another month and take it home and read it. That's not a big deal. And switch this one out. But if I just had to pick a book that has a hardcover edition, done. Check. So yeah, I didn't do the shiny on this one yet either. I need to get back into exercising, so that's something I should do either way. Just another, hey, we need to get back into our goals reminder for myself. And then the Butterfree was read a book you think will make you cry. And I've talked about this before of I don't usually cry. Happens. But I don't know until I've actually read it. But this is one that you think will make you cry. So maybe I will circle back around to this one when I do the one that says make you cry on the other challenge and just do them both at the same time because I'm not doing a TBR for it and I've got all year. So I'm not really focused on this one for now. When I find one that does make me cry, I'll go back and put it in there. Or if I'm like, oh boy, this is definitely going to make me cry, or it's probably going to make me cry as I'm like planning out my TBR for a month, then I'll come back and put it in. But I gotta get the shiny also this one. I got a little pink feet, necessary, and the little pink nose. So go on a date. We usually try to do date nights like once a month ish. Sometimes that's at home, sometimes that's out and about. And then sometimes there's friend dates where you're just like, hey, friend, let's go to the movies or whatever. Go get some food. And I am doing one of those actually in February too, in like a couple of weeks. So if I pick a book before then, I could potentially count that there. All right, next is the Weedle chain, and this is all starting for February. So you'll see they're all at 30% transparency right now because I haven't started them because they're for February. Weedle was a book you previously started. I usually finish books when I start, but not always. I decided to try to fit all of as many as I could. Choose books that were already going to be on my TBR for other reasons in February because this was a last minute edition. I didn't want to try to refinagle my entire TBR because of it, etc. So I have already read most of Lore Olympus on the webcomic version. So I decided to go with number 8 for Lore Olympus Volume 8, since I'm going to be reading that anyway, and I am going to be purchasing that one because I thought I already owned it, but I don't. I only went through 7, and I want all of them at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and buy number 8 and read it in the month of February. So decided that would be the way I went. Let me know if you disagree. Sorry, my nose is, I'm trying not to sneeze. And then finish a task you've been meaning to finish for the shiny factor. Kakuna, read a book with a form of protection on the cover. I decided to go with magic because magic is often a form of protection, especially in like an academy series. They will use protection either to protect themselves or another person oftentimes. If I get in there and I read it and I'm like, no, they're not using it as protection, then I'll switch it out. Not a big deal. But I chose Moonbitten by C.S. Churton, which is one of the books that's going to be on my Herkyed challenge, Herkyed 1.0 challenge. And it also fit in a couple other places, but that's how I pulled this book originally into the my TBR. Next is Beedrill, which is read a book. Oh, I forgot to mention. Cozy up with a nice blanket cocoon. That is an every night thing. Almost every night, unless like they're in the washing machine. I like to be comfy, like on the couch, all like bundled up. Beedrill. Read a book or danger is a big part of the story. This was a quick Google. I said, okay, these are the books that potentially that could be it. Which ones I'm not using. on other things for this challenge. Cool, let me go and check it out. And chose Dan Brown's Inferno for that one, and then do something scary. I don't really know what that means. Scary, like have to go to a haunted house? Scary, like I don't want to have this conversation? Scary, like get a new job? Like what? What do we mean by scary? I don't know. So that one I may hold off doing the shiny component until later in the year, unless some like an opportunity presents itself. Because you can do the shiny at any time after you've read it, is how I am understanding. If I am incorrect, let me know. Then we get to Pidgey, which is read a book with little to no fighting. So I chose a romance. The wild card is my new release for January, so I hope for February that I've chosen for Herkyed. So hopefully I will be able to get that in time. And yeah, so there you go. Hockey romance. Don't know much about it because it's not out yet. So other than that, romance and I think no. There's just a lot of things that happen in Vancouver when it comes to hockey. And I was like, I don't think I've read any other ones from this series. But yeah, I am looking forward to that one. I'm also looking forward to the next one, which is also hockey. But shiny for this is to try something again. I literally just mentioned that I need to get back into my working on my fitness goals. So that means I need to start with my at-home workouts and my stretching again, and a bunch of other stuff that are on my like goals list. So I will hopefully that will count for try something again. Pidgeotto was read a book with a protective character. I don't think I've ever read a hockey romance where the character who played hockey was not protective. Like I can't think of one ever that I've ever read. I really enjoy this this subgenre, so I went ahead and chose Offside, which I just got on my library app, but I will hold off on reading it until February. Plus, I have to finish like 2 other books before the end of the month, and it's the 27th, so I don't know if I'll get to it before January ends anyway. We will see, but that's the plan for that one. And then Protect My Peace. I have a thought on this one. A couple of thoughts, actually. I don't really know that I want to chat about them, because I would potentially break some people's privacy, so I don't know that I want to do that. But I have ideas. Then Pidgeot, read a book where flying happens, dragons, airplanes, angels, demons, etc. Chose When the Moon Hatched. I should get that one soon. It says less than 4 weeks from now, so fingers crossed. Sarah A. Parker wrote that one. And for Shiny, it's Get Dressed Up. I will need to be trying on formal wear for a performance that I don't have anything purchased for yet. So I don't know if we count trying dresses on, or do I have to get like full on dressy. But that I believe is happening in the next couple of months. So even if I don't the event is happening in the next couple of months. So even if it doesn't count to like try on dresses, that I will definitely be wearing said dress soon. Then we get into some of the ones that only have 2 evolutions in them. The first one is Rattata, which is read a book with multiple covers. And I chose Holes by Louis Sekar, I think. And Have a Snack. That's not a hard 8. I can totally do that. Is the shiny. So then we have Eradicate, which is trade a book with a friend and read it. Only thing I have on this one is it's not with a friend. They're my husband's books, but we're friends too. If it doesn't count, then I have my friend who we D&D with who said I could borrow any of her books. So that would be an option as well. But if I can use my husband's books for this one, then I already have the book, the next one in the One Piece saga on there. And I think this is the last one where I'll be reading this one probably solo. and then it'll likely be like I read it, then he reads it, or if he reads it, then I read it because we're both reading it together after this one. I think it may be like 10, but I'm pretty sure we're almost caught up to each other now. And this is annotate or take notes on the book you choose for this prompt. And that's the other thing. I didn't, to be fair, I didn't read this the shiny part before I chose this book. I probably should have. I can't really annotate in someone else's book. I could take notes, but this is one, maybe I need to change a book. I'll probably have to change books. We'll come back to it. But either way, I don't annotate often, especially not books that I'm borrowing from other people. I may take notes. I guess another option actually would be that I could borrow some D&D related books from my husband and take notes on that. Definitely could do that. I just finished creating a character. It took me like 12 hours over the weekend, and there's still plenty that I need to understand because like the difference between 2014 and 2024 editions of the Player's Handbook, I made it for one, and I think I'm gonna have to adjust it to the other. So yeah, I'll need to take notes. But yeah, that's an option. I don't know that I really want to count a handbook though. Anyway, ideas. How can I do this without writing in people's books? Next, Spiro, read a jump scare book. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I didn't have any books already on my list that were legitimate jump scares, but this one came up saying it had jump scare like moments in the book. So if it doesn't, then I will pick a different book and read that in March. But I'm going to say if it's a jump scare like moment, then it's a jump scare. But I won't know till I read it whether or not that's accurate. And then it wants me to journal, which I'm going to journal because it's all over the place on multiple of my e-journals. So I will definitely have this one pop up other places for me to write or put things in journals about. So that's an easy one. Thero is read a tome, which is 500 or more pages. And this one is A Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin is the first one. It is the one that my husband has chosen for this month for me to read. So, for February. So I will need to read that one. And I got through, I think, 2 episodes because I cried and I was very sad about. I mean, it's been out for forever, but I was very upset about the dog situation. And I did not read anymore because my husband at the time was was he on first shift or overnights? He was on overnights. So like we were watching the show together because he'd seen it if I hadn't, and then he like would have to immediately leave me as I'm in tears to go to work. So watch it after I got off work, right? And then we just said this is not working. I should not watch this anymore because it was sad to like. Anyway, moving on. Hopefully I do not cry with the books, but if it does, then maybe I'll need to switch it out and make a different 500-page book here and put that on the one about crying. And then Ekans was wait, actually did I already talk about? Oh yeah, for shiny was Take a Break, which is easy. Ekans was read a book where you can make another word in the title backwards, and I have not figured that out yet. I mean, can I just make up the word? Because Ekans is not a real word. So, so I have a book on my TBR that has the word gods in it, and if it had God, then I could do dog, but it's gods, which does not work for dog. So, I mean, if I can take off the S and use that, then I've got one. Otherwise, it may be one that I need to do a future month when it fits better. And then curl up somewhere and read or watch something that on my couch counts, right? So that's at least once a week. And then Arbok, read a book in a series or by an author that has you in a chokehold. I have mentioned Storm of Locusts being one that I am looking forward to so much, because it has a different pantheon than I had ever read about before in fiction, and I really enjoy lore and in my reading generally, but I like mythology of all kinds, and so it was really really interesting to me, and I thought this was the first one was really well done, so I chose that one. And do something you love. Well, I mean, I assume we mean other than reading, so we will figure out what that will be at the time. But there are plenty of options. Singing. I go to singing most every week, for choir. Um, Dance. Again, I go to folk dance practice almost every week. So those things would count. And then journaling. I think that's a lot of fun. Hanging out with my husband, something I very much love. Playing D&D. I really love that. So like there are plenty of options. And that's the end of February. Obviously, there are 10 more months, and I'll be adding their pages on as we went through. I also realized, having looked at it this way for as long as I have, that these very much look like the IKEA colors more than they do the Pokemon colors. So I may need to go in and, especially on the titles on the right, highlight or outline it in the bright red. That way it changes it from looking like IKEA and more Pokemon themed. I realize that, and I will probably adjust that for future months. But yeah, let me know if you're doing this one, what you think about it. My goal is that if I can, I'll look at my TBR and where books I have, what can fit. Because most of these seem pretty easy so far to be able to fit into my regular TBR, and I'm not having to pick books that are separate and apart. And then if I don't have something for that one, maybe we just skip it and come back to it in the next month. Because I will definitely, with going through that process, at least get the champion level. I would love to get the top level, but um, if I can't, at least I'll get champion. And then if I don't finish it all this year for some reason, they did also mention that um, you could also finish it in the next year when we go into another region. If you're just not done with it yet, you could finish it up and then go to the next region at that point. So that's an option for me as well. So it is a lot of reading for the version that I am choosing to go into, but I'm going into it knowing that it's because I'm working on a lot of other challenges. There are a lot of books that I'm reading already in every month, and I can probably pull things as I'm going through that will work without a lot of additional reads added to my TBR, if that makes sense. Because the prompts are, for the most part, fairly general, um, or at least that they fit into things that I'm already reading. They have for January, February. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into that because we don't know. We won't know what the rest of them are because they're being presented on a monthly basis. So if we get to a month that is just like impossible for me, um, I'll address it then. But for now, it's not adding any more stress. So I will enjoy it and have fun trying to figure out how to triple up, double up with other challenges to get these Pokemon added to my Pokedex. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!